Hi, my name's Cody with Freedom Group, and I am really excited to be here talking to you today. And if this is your first time joining us for one of these episodes where we're talking about things that are going on in business and in our marketplace, I just want to tell you a little bit about who we are. So, my name's Cody, and my background is I started my first company 15 years ago, right out of high school, right into getting married, and also right at the beginning of the 2008 financial crisis. Um, that was an incredible time for me to be starting a business, and I learned so much from it because I was able to not know anything about business. I learned how to create a thriving, sustainable enterprise that I later sold to a man that had no experience in my particular industry. He actually was a UPS driver, but because I had learned and developed the skill of how to create a viable, sustainable company, a turnkey company, I was able to pass that on to him, and he's able to take that now several years later, and he's still thriving and growing and sustaining that company. And joining us today is a man that I have a ton of respect for. His name's Myron Bauman. He's one of our partners here at Freedom Group. And I just want to tell you a little bit about his background. One of Myron's things that he loves to say is that he was born and raised in sawdust. And what that means is his dad had a wood shop, and so he was born into a very creative culture in his home and in his life. And he was designing custom furniture at a very young age, just off of drawings that their clients brought in and said, "Hey, I think I want a chair or table or something," and he would make that just out of a sketch, a very poor sketch. And he later went on to get involved in a bunch of creative design, high-end creative design, marketing, branding work. His dad bought him Photoshop when he was 16, and he just took off running with it. And in 5 years, he had taken that company that he had started kind of accidentally, just helping his dad out with some of his marketing stuff that they needed for his wood shop company. And he grew that to 15 employees, 5 years. And now he is the owner and operator of multiple businesses in design, marketing, manufacturing, real estate, and coaching. So Myron has a really important message that he wants to be able to share with you today. We were talking a little bit before the show, just kind of touching base on what was really speaking to him and what was in his heart and on his mind that he wants to share. And so what he told me is that his focus for this recording is he really wants to talk about keeping focus as a leader. And so, Myron, I'd love to hear your thoughts about this topic.
Yeah, thanks for that, Cody. Definitely very passionate about what we're going to be talking about today, about focus and prioritization as a leader. And one of the things that I really want to talk about today is how do we, during a time where we're stuck at home possibly, or our team can't work, how do we continue to lead with focus? How do we prioritize our days? How do we make sure that we get the most out of this time possible? So that's what I'm excited to go over today with you guys. Kind of break it down into small bite-sized pieces, hopefully, that we can take from here and use in our day-to-day operations.
So, what do we need to be working on in order to keep ourselves focused as leaders? And it's important that you're talking about this because right now it's real easy to get distracted, right, by other people telling us that the world's ending or we can't do anything with our business, and there's nothing to do but sit on the couch at home and check your email and whatever it is people do when they're not working their businesses, right? So like I said, you have several companies, so there requires a lot of you to a lot from you to stay focused and make sure that you're making progress. So what do you do to protect your time and keep that focus in place so that you can keep moving forward even in the middle of a shutdown?
So I'm always looking at where are we trying to go? What are needle moving activities that need to be accomplished to reach those goals, and prioritizing my day in a way that I set aside time for different types of tasks. So those are a couple of the overlying things that I do in my day to stay on focus. But I really believe before we can really focus, before we can get into needle moving activities, we really need to look at where are we trying to go. And I believe right now if we're struggling with focus, it's because we've been so busy doing busy work, possibly, that we haven't been focused on where we're going. And so, if that's you, it's okay. But what I would encourage you to do is just stop for a minute and say, where are we trying to go in life? Where are we trying to take this business? Because you may have been just behind the saw. Maybe you were just shipping product and you were so busy because the economy was booming and things were moving in those directions that you really didn't even know where you were going because you were just so busy with day-to-day tasks. And so what I wanted to stop for a moment and look at is, with focus, is how we start to work with our priorities, with our needle moving activities, and etc. But now is not the time to sit on the couch. Now is not the time to make excuses. And we have what we need to make and do valuable things right now. We don't need to be on a manufacturing floor. We don't need to be in the office to do valuable things.
Hmm.
Trust me, there's someone's been waiting on something from you for a long time now. Whether it's some copy for that website, maybe it was some manuals that you were supposed to be working on, maybe it was who knows what. But there's someone who's been waiting on something from you. I know it. So do it.
It's really good where you're going with this, because what we've been in the last 10, 11 years or so is we've been in this tremendous long uh, raging bull market upcycle where we've just been busy doing it, keeping our businesses going, always trying to get to the next order. We're always looking at growth, right? And it's kept us very, very busy. The demand and the pressure of that is sometimes overwhelming, and it's easy to kind of lose sight of some of the bigger picture things that are going on in your company. And what happens when we get caught up in that frenzy of being busy with the day-to-day tactical operation of our company is we lose sight of our strategic objectives and the things that we need to accomplish in the big picture and long term in order to secure the success of our company. And so one of the reasons why we're here is we want to be speaking some life into your life, right? We want to be looking for the silver lining. And what's really amazing about what happened, Myron just said that there's things that people have been waiting on you to do for them, and you haven't been doing them. And what has happened right now is that, yes, I mean, it sucks that our businesses are under various stages of being shut down and we're at stay-at-home orders and all this other stuff. But um, you've been mandated this little time of rest, which doesn't mean idleness, right? Don't confuse rest with idleness, but your business has been given a period of rest. And now it's time to go to work and take care of some of these things. You've been given this opportunity to flush out problems and look at different ways to create progress in your company.
Absolutely. And during a time like this, it's really easy because we go from really busy work to having to focus on creating the list.
Right.
And this is where I like to jump in and look at how do I create those lists. And so I break down my lists by needle moving activities, like I talked about just a couple moments ago. And to me, needle moving activities are items that I need to get accomplished or to help delegate to team members toward our growth or our action plan or our vision. These are items that are going to move us to the next level. They're not busy work. It's not emails. It's not phone calls. I'm not talking about that. That's subtasks of the bigger picture. So what I look at is 3 priorities per day, 3. And why I pick 3 is because we need to accomplish them. We need to accomplish them well. And so I just believe in the power of 3. And I do this in my daily life, even when we're not in a moment like this. I'm always looking at and saying, okay, what are the 3 things I'm going to accomplish today to make action, to get something done of purpose? So when I get to the end of the day, I'm like, yes, those 3 things got done. That is moving the company forward. It's moving us toward our bigger goal and toward where we're trying to go. Now, when we look at the 3 goals, how do we get them done? And if we look at a day, I like to break down my day into categories. I call it zero balance time management. And so what I do is I look at my day and I say, okay, I have 3 priorities of today. I've got subtasks I'm going to need to get done. So I'm going to make an appointment. We make an appointment with a doctor and we go, right? We make an appointment with a vendor, we're there. Why? Because we set aside the time to get it done. And yet, for some reason, we believe that we can live our lives without making appointments with ourselves. And so I am super passionate about making an appointment with myself for a task or subject. And so what I try to do is I break down my days into ways that work best for me. So um, I don't like to have meetings in the middle of a morning. Why? Because it's breaking up my action plan, my time that I have set aside to work on things. So I don't want a meeting at 10 o'clock. I want a meeting either first thing in the morning, right before lunch, right after lunch. Those are my three spots that I kind of designate as get myself back on the schedule, appointment setting for outside of office or other meetings. For myself, I put in there my prime time from morning until late morning. Those are my times where I block out time to work on these items that are priorities for me. And so if you look at my calendar, you would see that I would have focus time and then email and subtask time. And that is where I can work on those other subtasks, those things that don't fall under the top three priorities of the day that I can go to, that I can work on so I know where to put them in. And so that's how I like to break down my three categories and make sure that I get them done. Don't try to take off more than what you can chew. And so many of us that are high pressure, we're on the move, we're like, yeah, but I'm going to get more done. Don't do it.
Yes, and what you said is so important. You have to defend your time and your space to be making productive decisions and keeping your focus, right? You've got to defend that territory of your highest best use of your time. And that's a problem that we have, is we allow things like emails or, you know, answering the phone or whatever to creep in on our time. And as leaders of our company, that's not a good use of our time. No matter what, no matter what's going on, we shouldn't be doing those things. 80% of your time should be spent on your biggest opportunities, and then 10% of your time should be spent training your people, and the rest of it should be spent taking care of details. But really what happens is we kind of spend 50% of our time taking care of, nuisance work, and the other half of the time kind of doing whatever, right? You got to protect your time. And this is the difference. This is what's going to set your company apart from all of your other competitors when things start turning back on. Okay, all of your other competitors are sitting at home and they're blaming the virus, they're blaming the governor, they're blaming whoever for why they're not getting anything done and why they're not making progress on their business. Okay, that's a victim mentality. That's saying I am irresponsible for my business. And you, my friend, are responsible. You're a responsible person. So that's the difference between being a victor and a victim, right? We want to set you up to set priorities so that you can emerge from this stronger and be victorious in your company.
Yeah, it's so true. And one of the things that I'm kind of smiling about, because it's kind of funny and yet sad at the same time, that I really feel like this time isn't going to be long enough. And that's because I have a huge list of priorities that I want to get done. And I'm sitting here Monday of the second, entering the second week of this shutdown. And I'm just trying to chalking out. I normally don't do this, but I'm kind of chalking out a little more into future all week. And I'm like, darn it, I don't have enough time to get done everything I want to get done. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. And I really hope that by tomorrow we could be up and running. That's not my point, because I'll keep on with my priorities. But I have some pretty big goals. And so my encouragement to all of you guys out there right now, and the one listening right now, or don't make an excuse. Don't say, yeah, but you don't understand my industry. No, it's not that. If you're alive, if you have a computer, if you have anything in business going on, you have things you can be focused on right now.
I like what you were saying about, making things a priority, making things an appointment to get them done. And that's really critical. That's what's going to set your company apart from your competitors. Is a lot of people are looking at what's going on right now and they're saying, well, it's nobody's fault, right? Who could have seen it coming or coming? But the reality is they're sitting there creating excuses for themselves so that when things start back up, they're just going to continue in that pattern of irresponsibility, right? They're saying it's nobody's fault and therefore I had to stay home and therefore nothing got done. And that's just not true. And what we're doing is we're creating a vision for you and your time so that we're transforming you from being a victim like those people and in turning you into a victor. And the only way you do that is by taking control and taking ownership over your time and the production of your company. And so Myron, what are some things that right now people can start focusing on to be moving the needle forward in their company?
Yeah, there's a lot of different areas, and your business may be at a different place. But just a couple things to kind of get your mind spinning, and that is looking at what am I needing so that my team can be successful. If we're honest with ourselves, like I said earlier, there are people that are waiting and have been waiting on things from us. And so looking at marketing strategy, um, vertical markets, where do we go next with our products, product design and development. Maybe it's processes and procedures. How do we, what are some maintenance projects? So there's just, the list goes on and on of the things that we can be focused on during this time. And a lot of us say that we want to work on our business, not in our business. This is your opportunity to test out without interruptions and distractions, working on your business rather than in your business.
Yeah.
And if you find it hard now, um, you need to work hard on changing your habits, because you should not go back to the way it was before. Because when you come back from this, you should have be in the stages of reformatting your habits into being the new version of leader that you want to become, of working on the business rather than in the business. And I hear some of you guys right now are going, yeah, but you don't understand. Yes, I understand. I've grown a lot of companies from almost or no employees to companies with employees that I can delegate to. But it may not be that you can work all the time on the business. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's about understanding the difference of what working on the business and in the business is. And if you learn how to discipline your time, to create your top 3 priorities, to make appointments for those things that matter to you, and you keep doing them after we get back into day-to-day operations again, you will be on the course of working on your business, owning your time, and staying on focus. And that's what matters. Take this opportunity, guys. You've not been given an opportunity like this in forever. And we
Hmm.
don't know when we're going to have this again. So don't waste it. Don't waste it. You have what it takes. You have the time now to focus on it. Change your habits and be the leader. Take control of your time and own it.
Yes, absolutely. And something I just want to throw in there is something that I think is a really critical priority for you to be considering right now is your communication, the communication that you have with your customers and your clients, and the communication that you have with your people. You need to coordinate everything that's going on so people know. I mean, you don't want your customers to worry that maybe you got plowed under by this thing, right? You want them to know that you're on top of it. You're doing everything you can to get them taken care of, especially people that are waiting, in the middle of having orders that were maybe being produced at the time that a shutdown came, or if your shutdown hasn't come to you yet, you need to be communicating and projecting that confidence to your people, whether they're your customers or your employees, right? You've got to be um, encouraging your team leaders to be engaging with you in this needle moving process. I mean, everyone is responsible, but you are responsible for setting the example, because no one's going to care more about your business than you do. And if it looks to other people like you're not caring about it as much as you should, they're not going to care about it more, right? So you need to be setting that example for your staff and your company and your customers, training them and preparing them so that they know what to expect. And that creates trust and that creates confidence. All right. Well, that's all time we have for right now. I really thank you for joining us. I hope that this was helpful to you. Please comment or share this video. We want to know what you're thinking and what some of your needs are, because we have tons of content that we can create on our own. But I'd really like to hear from you, the listener, what you're going through and what you need help with, so that we can be mindful of that and trying to create future topics that will help you through what you're going through. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.